Welcome back to another review and feedback. I have a Zerg versus Protoss for us. We're going to jump right on in. This one is hopefully going to be very interesting to watch. Sorry, a little slow on the uptick there. We have Rumold in the red upper left-hand corner as Zerg, and in the lower right-hand corner we have PFolkMetaller in the blue as Protoss. This is such a short game, we're just going to go ahead and watch what's going on. This might turn into a watch and learn, where we learn how to do some things. Interesting, we have no production under the Zerg side. Probably going to grab a very early hatchery, but we'll see what ends up going down. Protoss doing what they can to get down a gateway as perfectly timed as possible. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. The Protoss is headed across the map. They're going to go scout, see what they can see. Grabbing as an assimilator very quickly. And of course grabbing workers as they go. This is very standard for the Protoss. The Zerg on the other side of the map is getting a 3-hatch build against the Protoss. Protoss hasn't responded yet. This is a very weird build. The number of workers, the count is kind of low, so this is kind of weird. And then, of course, we don't have a pool or extractor yet. So there's a couple of ways to punish your opponent for this. Interesting. Sees the pool almost as soon as it goes down, about 4 or 5 seconds behind. If you're in this situation, don't build the Nexus. Build a second gate, build your core, start to go up to get an extra assimilator and go to Stargate immediately. The reason that you do that is because oracles will absolutely be able to punish your opponent here. Go mass adepts, which is also able to absolutely punish your opponent here. Also, if you're going to harass workers, never leave the backside of the mineral line so you can get out and keep a very close eye on that unit while you're doing it. Just little things there. The player base here, we have a 4K, I believe it is. Protoss in a 3.5K Zerg, which is very interesting that they have a differentiation. Oh my god! What is wrong with me? I guess I need to have an energy drink or something. But yeah, the point being is that basically you want to get some aggression across the map as soon as you can, or be ready for aggression. In this instance, you lost the probe. Time to put up your bunker, your defense. You need 2. They're funny, chatting back and forth. Get yourself 2 shield batteries immediately. You don't know when they're coming across. You don't know how fast they're going to be. They didn't grab a gas, so you should expect extreme aggression. And letting them in, not plugging the wall after the fact. This is game over. This is literally game over. Kill the ones behind first. Get a couple of probes over here. Wall off. Alright, so this was submitted by the Zerg. It's really hard to defend against this. Okay, so some things. First and foremost, you scout. Once you know what they have, you see that they're not doing more gas, you go check other bases to see how many bases they have. If they have other gases and things, you know they're going to tech up. If they never get any gas, what things can Zerg build? Drones, overlords, queens, additional hatcheries, spawning pool, and extractors. That's about it. Everything else requires gas. Roach one. Excuse me. Everything else requires gas. And building a roach horn does not make sense without any gas, so you kind of got to be attentive to that fact. This was an extremely fast hatchery, which means your opponent is either going to go extraordinarily hard into their macro, and they're going to get lots and lots of workers really fast, or they're going extremely hard into larva gathering, which is what you saw happen in this game. Basically, they wanted to have 9 larvae as soon as they could for lings to be aggressive as can be. They are quite literally sacrificing any income for later on because of it. If I remember correctly, if you have this turned on, you can see your opponent's number. I might be mistaken. I can't remember. I know you can see your own. But this number looks a little bit low to me, right? They pulled that, and you're like, where's the ones running back and forth here and there? That's concerning. They don't have the production of income that they need to be able to sustain a long-term game. What that means is do not build your Nexus. This is bad. The second you build this Nexus, you lost. Reason being is they're going to be aggressive. You didn't know that quite yet, and that's okay. No, not knowing quite yet is okay. It's a little late for this stuff, but seeing that they only have so many workers, right? Like, if you're looking at this and you're going, well, scratching your head, how many workers do they have? How many bases do they have? You got to check all these bases. So the scout should have been, oh, there's a spawning pool going down, no gas. Do they have gas on the next base? No, because you saw this on your way in, right? You saw it on your way in. Do they have any other bases, right? You obviously could see that they have another base if you were to scout here. You never went over there. You didn't ever have the opportunity. You want to have something that's going to counter Lings indefinitely. That's why I suggest to go Stargate. So getting more gas immediately, getting some shield batteries for defense, and grabbing a couple of adepts immediately is the play. You're not supply capped. Get your adept faster. You need this unit. You don't know what's going on. You should be getting your adept as fast as possible. You should be shading it out to see where it is, but canceling it and keeping it in your wall. Or have a probe in your wall at the same time. You should be like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. What is my opponent doing? I don't know. You shouldn't have lost your probe here. I wouldn't have attacked his units. But like, look at how many Lings are coming. You got 20 Lings on the way. Literally 20 Lings at 3 minutes. He skipped Queens because he wanted more hatcheries to be more aggressive. He's not even going to grab... Like, you need to control this better. You need to get your workers down here to fight. You don't build Forge. This game is over. Obviously you left, which is fine. That's perfect. That's exactly what you should do. But like, imagine if your Adept was in the wall back here, and you had 2 shield batteries. Or imagine you had the Adept in the wall, a shield battery, and you were building a Stargate right there. And you had a second pylon going down to make it so that if they got through and broke your one pylon, that they didn't kill you. Right? This is 36 Lings at 3 minutes. That is so many Lings, it's insane. 44. I mean, he's obviously coming in here and destroying all of them. Okay, so everybody has bad games. Everybody has situations where they don't know what's going on, and there's always a first time for seeing everything. When you play your opponent, you need to ask yourself what my opponent is doing. Why are they making the decisions they're making? It's high stress. It's okay to make mistakes. Now you've learned. If there's no gases anywhere, on any of the bases, it's time to go home and put up your defensive wall to make it so that they cannot kill you. If they have no gas and you have that full wall, you need to have something where you can be aggressive that's not going to die to Lings. That's why I say Stargate. I did not know what was happening at all until I watched this the first time through, and this is obviously our third time through. And you heard me in the first time through. Build a Stargate immediately. Don't build a Nexus. Build shield batteries. I don't play Protoss. I'm not that very good at Protoss. I am good at Zerg, though, relatively speaking. I'm like 3.3-ish K MMR, which I think is a little suppressed. I don't play it a lot, so my actual real MMR is wrong. I have some things to fix with regards to how I do my macro, blah, 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 blah. Point being is that if basically, as a Protoss, you need to check to see when the spawning pool goes down. Make sure that there's no gas, right? You can see with this that he doesn't have this gas and he doesn't have this gas. I mean, you obviously came by here. Check the gas timing. Gas timing is everything for you. If he doesn't build gas, no Nexus. Build another gate. Build shield bats. Get to Stargate as fast as you can. You don't need warp prison or warp gate. You just need adepts and shield batteries, and then a stalker if you really want to be like cheeky, like really brutal against your opponent. Because the natural transition after seeing what you're seeing here, right, is they're either going to go roaches. Okay, Void Ray, you're going to kill them. Who cares? It takes a long time to get there. They don't have any gas income. They're going to do speed probably first. Cool. Let's go get our adepts. Let's kill their overlord. all that kind of stuff, right? Get that shield battery, or they're going to go Banes. If they're going to go Banes, then you need to have something chunky. That would be your putting a stalker in the wall towards the back and having your adepts behind it. You'll be able to kill a lot of stuff and protect yourself. Having the shield batteries and having it close to the Nexus is great, but you don't put the Nexus down until you've held the first swell or so of units, because you want to make sure that you're good. You want to get that air stuff going beforehand, so that way it forces your opponent to start investing on things that they can't afford. Like, also, I would have had this adept not attacking these lings, but attacking these lings, because these lings you can't get this around. Also, you could take you take half your probes. You just like box a bunch of them. Okay, I got 10 there, right? So here, let's go through the motions, right? Let's just say I'm looking here. Let's say I'm even looking over here. Okay, look at the mini-map, look at the mini-map, check your supply, make sure you're building stuff, mini-map, mini-map, mini-map. Oh shit, grab workers, throw them down here, help your adept out. The only way to survive is not having them get in and killing that pylon. Literally the only way. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you're down to 2 workers, you theoretically could still come back, but you have to kill all. You have to like make sure this pylon doesn't go down, and you get through up to 2 to 3 adepts minimum alive at the end of the attack. It's really, really hard to come back from that, but that's like the bare minimum in order to make it so the game continues. Obviously, the game ended at 3 minutes and change, but I think you get the idea. Point being is good games. Thank you for putting that up on, I think that was All Things Zerg, if I remember correctly. That's a hard build to deal with, but basically, as the Protoss, you want to make sure that you can do the wall off, all that kind of stuff. If you're the Terran, or not the Terran, Jesus Christ, there wasn't even a Terran. If you're the Protoss, I talked about that a lot. As the Zerg, you need to know what your next steps are. So once that first 30-ish lings, oh my god, that's so many lings, attacks your opponent, build workers. Get your gases, start teching. Roaches is probably, it's okay, but my initial reaction was to go Void. Or to go Oracle. To immediately get something that I can shoot down at you and you can't touch me. So, and that was when I scouted. I was thinking that. Remember, I would have skipped Warp Gate entirely to go to get my Stargate as soon as possible. I didn't know how... I mean, obviously, I knew how long the game was when I first hit it, but there's any number of reasons why that could have happened and all that kind of stuff. Point being is that the Zerg, what you need to do is have a transition point from what your opponent's doing. So if they create a wall, right, they actually finish the wall, and they have shield batteries behind. What units can you use to win? They're going to have all range units. They might end up building a zealot eventually, maybe. It's one of those up in the air things, right? But things that'll break them: a Baneling bust, Roach Ravager, but that doesn't help you with Sky anything. The Baneling bust is early enough that you might be okay. That's the only challenge. Chances are no. Those are the 2 like continued aggression paths you have right away. So your real option is to go in and macro out of what you're doing. So instead of that next 6 eggs of lings that you built to go from 36 to 44 or 52, I think, in that area, whatever the numbers were. Don't do math on stream, guys. It doesn't ever work. Don't even do it in recording. Unless you have the numbers already calculated in front of you and you took notes and stuff. I'm obviously going into this blind. I try to do it blind because it makes it a lot more interesting when I call things out and kind of do feedback and stuff. Sorry, back to what I was trying to say. Point being is if you had made those all drones and queens, you would be in a situation where you're able to macro out. You've basically forced your opponent to respond in a way that is not ideal. And so it's going to be a very messy game. And you just kind of have those lings hang out, block the 3rd and 4th base, and then the other one's kind of roving around, making sure you don't have a Warp Prison coming, or to see what timing the Sky stuff is coming, or whatever. You need to get yourself some spores up pretty quickly, or increase your queen count significantly as fast as you can to protect yourself from the appropriate response. The other response that you're going to see will be like Mass Adept. Reason that they're going to do that is simply because you force them into adepts. They already got down the Twilight Council and they decided to survive. So you need to then say roaches or something like that. You just sack a Ling in about a minute later or so to just see what the army composition is. Maybe 4 or 5 Lings in just to see, or an Overlord, obviously. You can choose how you want to see what your opponent's doing. It just depends on what they decide on the units that they build, obviously. But like your plan as a Zerg has stage 1, which is going to win like 75% of your games until it doesn't. 85 in that area until it doesn't, like literally until it doesn't. And then you'll start losing. You'll like not win, but you'll do damage because you'll pull the probes like I was talking about, or it will get completely blasted. But because you have 3 hatcheries up, you can just macro really, really hard. And you just set up your Lings in a way that makes it so you're going to be able to see them whenever they're coming. Put down your spores as soon as that the sky unit flies through, or you see the DT, or they charge with their ground army. Then you respond with the appropriate army, build up to make it so that you're in the situation that you can defend appropriately to any of the 3 different options that are going to go. I mean, they could go Robo, but that would be really weird. That's a long time to get a Colossus. By then, you'll have Muta if you decided to chase Muta, and if not, you're going to have all the Roaches in the world, or you'll have so many Lings it doesn't matter, or so many Hydra and Roach that you're just going to crush them anyways, and you're going to keep them on 2 base, and you're going to be on 4 or 5 base anyways. Sorry. Point being is basically macro really hard. After that initial, the first wave and the second wave go in, you should be macroing after that. And if they're blocking, if they held really well and you lose all your Lings, that sucks. Build a few Lings, put them around, make sure your Overlords are in the right positions, checking for air stuff, blah, blah, blah. That being said, both players had a plan. Both players executed on a plan. That's good for both of them. The bad was basically the Protoss did not respond to their scout. Like, they scouted, they're like, oh, what do I do now? And they didn't know what to do, and you saw the loss. That happens. As for the Zerg, you didn't have a transition plan. It was very obvious you didn't know what you were going to do after. You just continue to produce more Lings. Mind you, by that time, you had already broken down the pylon. Game's over. No big deal. But to go from a 3.5, 4K MMR range to a 5K MMR range, you need to have that plan set up. Because what's going to end up happening is you're going to run into players that are knowledgeable in this. They know what to expect. They scouted it appropriately, and they already have the units to counter what you're doing. And they also pulled their workers appropriately to protect them, to make it so that this game is just, you just lose all your Lings, and now you're behind on the macro position, and you can't take the W. Because they just put a couple of probes in front of the Adept, hold position those, pull them back, throw a couple more in front, hold position again as they get low, and you just transition like that and the Adept would literally kill one Adept. Could literally kill all of those Lings, almost all of them. The difference would be is if you were attacking the shield, the wall or not while you're doing it, but because of hold positions and things like that, then it gets a little funky. Also, they would probably have shield batteries ready for you once they saw that late spawning pool and the fact that you had no gases. So you would be not running into a Nexus first build, Nexus after gate build. You'd be running into a two gate. Core, double shield bat, double pylon, Stargate positioning instead, which is you're just not gonna win that. And that's why you have to have a transition, because you're gonna find out that's what they're doing when you literally hit their wall of units and the defensive stuff. That being said, there's quick early games have their advantages, and quick early games are also can be a pain sometimes. So keep up with practicing your cheese if you're doing it, and of course continue to practice your macro. But make sure you respond with your scouting or how your opponent defends. Obviously, continuing more Lings in the situation that we were in, not a bad plan, but it could be better, right? If you're not going to do it with 36 Lings, you're not going to do it with 52 Lings. It's just not gonna. You're not gonna. So that's why I'm like. Articulating it the way I'm articulating it. But regardless, good games. I hope you all come back to view this up again, and hopefully I get some more games to review from you. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Thanks for watching. See you next time.